TRS Clips, the place you arrive at if you just want the best bits of India's smartest podcast, The Ranveer Show. Subscribe, hit that bell icon. Satpal bhai, you mentioned about things that you take with you after your own death. And I know that, every spiritual person consciously has this moment where they start thinking a lot about death. And it's a subject that I've thought a lot about over the last 2 years, seeing the amount of death we've seen in the world with COVID. I've thought of my own death. I've thought of the death of my loved ones, my teams, the people closest to me. What I have strongly started believing in is a concept of rebirth. I do feel that things will begin again, things will reboot again. What do you think about rebirth? Is it something you think about consciously? Because it'll be about. They say that your rebirth and your next birth is decided based on what you've done in this birth. I have two questions for you. One is your opinion on rebirth. The second is, why is someone born as a Sikh? Why is someone born as a Hindu? Why is someone born as a Buddhist, a Muslim? Why is someone born in a tribe in Africa? Why is someone born in some other kind of religion? What do you think decides all that? Do you think Sikhs are born often as Sikhs again? I'd love to know your opinion on this.
It's interesting that death is so intertwined with many spiritual traditions, and becoming comfortable with your own death is seen as a fundamental part of any spiritual practice. Being comfortable with the idea that this entire story that I've built about my life story, this whole character, I am like this and I am like that, and I want to achieve all these things, all of those are going to end. When I look at the Guru's teachings, Guru Nanak's teachings, one of the things they try to do is they remind us that death is always hanging over you. They give the example that a crane is a type of bird that's standing very still and looking at the water. He looks like he's meditating, but really he's keeping really still so that he can catch the fish. And he says that's what people are like, that people are thinking that they're meditative, but in reality, what they're doing is they're trying to just always grab more things out of life. And he says that crane doesn't realize that while he's busy fishing and trying to grab the fish and trying to grab life, there's a hawk that's flying around his head, and the hawk can come and grab him at any time. So the idea that death is going to happen to you is not only a absolute fact, but a fact that we don't like to think about is that it can happen at any time. So in my own practice, how I've become comfortable with death, and I'll move on to the rebirth question that you had as well. How I've become comfortable with death is that every single day, there is a chance that I may die. And in fact, my personal practice is I wake up every morning, and one of the mantras that I say to my head is, today could be the day that I die. And I become very comfortable with that idea that today could be the day. Today is no more or any less special. Even though I'm perfectly healthy, and we all know so many people who were perfectly healthy one day and then the next day they were gone. And so you have to become very comfortable with this idea. And that also helps with your previous question around life and achievement. I'm saying, well, today could be the day that I die. And I'm very comfortable with that idea. One of the things I try to do when it comes to me personally trying to help anyone with spirituality is I only talk about things that I absolutely have experienced. And what I'm very open about is I haven't experienced what the next life is going to be. And the only way that I've reconciled it in my own mind is I have so many things to sort out in this life. I have a mindset that I need to sort out. I have a spiritual journey in this life. I honestly couldn't care less what happens in the next life. As far as I'm concerned, the body goes back into the ground. The air goes back with air. Life energy goes back into life energy. And then that same life energy is then recycled. So in this, whatever we can call it, let's call it the soul, for example, whatever this energy is that's inside of us has to have come from somewhere. And when it goes back, and it goes back to the universe itself. And it makes me think about the lessons that you learned in your very first science lessons about energy, that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only move from one form to another form. And I think about life energy in the same way. And that's how I've begun to understand what reincarnation is. It makes absolutely scientific sense that if there is some sort of ball of energy that's inside me that's keeping me alive, when that energy leaves, where is it going to go? It has to go into everything. And actually, that's how I see the people who have passed on, that they haven't disappeared. In fact, they're in the plants, they're in the birds that are flying around, they're in all of the animals and the trees. Life energy must continue. It really is a harmony that is something that you're going to go into as well. You have to go back into Mother Nature, and Mother Nature will then do whatever it wants with you. Whether there's a soul that then travels into another one, for me, I say I have no experience with that. I'm too busy trying to sort out this life to work out what's going to happen with the next life. And in the same way, I think some questions, we can come up with our own theories. Why was I born like this? Why was I born into this family? But the truth is, they're just going to be speculation. It's just you and me trying to rationalize some things that are beyond our understanding. There's a really nice example that says, why are leaves green? And you can say, well, the leaves are green because of chlorophyll and this and that. But that doesn't answer why they're green. That just answers how they are green. But the why is beyond our understanding. Some things are just the way they are. And one of the main teachings that Guru Nanak gives in one of the earliest verses in the spiritual text called the Guru Granth Sahib, he says that nobody can explain how the universe works. Hukmi hovan akar, hukum na kahiya jai. He calls the universal law. He says the universal law continues to create, but it cannot be explained. These things we can rationalize and try to come up with our own theories. But the reality is, we are here now. That's the only thing that you know as a fact. I am here now, and I'm not interested in beliefs. I'm not interested in some belief system, why I was like this, or where I believe I will go. I'm interested, can I make the most of this moment right now? And so it allows you to just let go of even some of that spiritual debates that sometimes we love to get into. It allows you to let go of all of those things and say, I have no ability to answer that question. That is, life is just the way it is. And it allows you to just become very harmonious with whatever life is doing. You say, whatever life does, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think the concept of humility in one's mind causes you to understand that your mind isn't capable of understanding everything. The true knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. But with the stuff that you do know, you try doing your best with that. Like, everyone was not born to be a bowler. Some people are just born to be batsmen. That's what I'd say. So if you're just born to be a batsman, you focus on your batting and let go of the bowling. But you try being the best possible batsman out there. Sorry, that's a cricket reference that keeps kind of sprouting up in this podcast.